Hi, Brook Avenue teachers. Thank you for going through this quick connections training as we try to get this started up this week. Once you've completed this and the Google form, then any students in your class who are on connections will be able to start receiving that intervention. I'm going to try to go through this fairly quickly. It's a lot of slides, but a lot of the information is reinforced, and I will reinforce it as we go through. And I know your time is valuable, so don't want to take up too much of it. In Waco ISD, we oftentimes refer to any check-in, check-out program as connections, and that's the name of the program we use because we get printed off cards, we can scan them into the computer through this program, and connections lets us know what it is the goal is of connecting with students and building relationships to help improve their choices and behavior. The daily process is students will check in with their mentor at the beginning of the day and receive their card. The mentor will go over expectations, set goals with the students, and focus on the kind of choices that they are wanting to make for the day. Throughout the course of the day, you, the teachers, will be giving them feedback at the end of each of the periods, which on the cards are reading and writing are combined to kind of a 1 and a 2 because that takes up the biggest part of our day, and then science, specials, and math. At the end of each one of those time periods will be when you go over to the student, give them their mark on the card, and provide them positive feedback or encouragement. And then at the end of the day, the mentors will come, collect the completed card, then celebrate with the student their success, or talk about how to improve and problem solve going forward. I cannot show this video in this format, so if you click out of this and go back into the Google form, this video is attached right below it. And this just shows at a school that has a well-functioning check-in, check-out program what it looks like and where they see the strengths and the benefits from it. Goal of connections is to increase positive interactions based on the format of checking in frequently, keeping in mind that these are always positive interactions. There's no negative, no consequences, no bad reports that are included in the connections intervention. We want to provide practical information for how the students can be successful and let them know where they currently are standing in the classroom through the marks. But this is all positive support that we're giving. If they need to receive corrections or consequences at other times, then they will receive that through your regular classroom management, but it is not to be tied to connections in any way. This also gives students a mechanism for approaching the teacher with questions or seeing how the teacher views some of their choices or their behavior if they view things differently, and it's a way to have a conversation about that. We also get to collect very accurate data that can be visualized to see how a student is doing, if they're improving, staying the same, or having more struggles as the time goes on. This is what a card looks like. You'll see there's 3 categories that they can get a minus, a check, or a plus. For younger kids, it's a frowny face, straight face, or smiley face. They can get points for completing homework. And there's also bonus points at the bottom that can be given for any reason and can be given by any staff member. So if a student is doing well during a period of time, we can really reinforce that with bonus points even if we're still giving them just the same plus mark at the end of that period. At the side where it says staff comments or signature, we just want to remember that if anything is written there, these need to be positive comments because while the student may have other issues, and the students who are on connections oftentimes do have behavior issues, that's the main reason why they are included, but we want to keep that separate, so there should be no negative comments written down and no negative comments made to students while discussing connections. This is an example of what a connections report looks like, where we get to visualize the progress that they're making and can look at it by subject, by staff, by day of the week as well to pick out patterns. As it says here, the points card is not the intervention. It is the positive interactions that is the intervention. So connections and check-in, check-out systems give us a structure to increase those positive interactions and a way for the student to have a tangible card that shows it and visualize their growth and their success to keep them reminded and having something to work towards. Very quickly at the start of class, we want to make sure that we're greeting the student positively. We can offer props, kind of pre-corrections of reminders of how we're going to be respectful or what we're going to do at different times. And then that's as the student is giving you the card, and then at the end of class or the time periods where you are marking the card, we want to do it at a location in the room that won't draw attention, and also near the end of a subject or kind of a middle part if it's that breaking up that ELAR time into part 1 and part 2, kind of midway through, have a chance to go over, give them their marking, and then letting them get back to work and keep moving on. The goal is for this to be teacher-led feedback. If it all falls on the student to be having reminders, getting you to fill it out, that's something that they're probably not going to be able to keep up. If we need a timer or some other cue to remind us, that's something we can do and need to be able to find a way to be consistent so the students see that we're valuing the intervention. Because if they see that it's not valued on the adult side, then it's going to decrease the chance of them buying in and being invested in it as well. We also want feedback to be specific. So when we're filling in circles, we want to let them know why, especially on positive things, what they're doing. And if they're not quite getting to the goal, we want to let them know in a positive manner what it is that they can do to meet that goal the next time, while not focusing on the negative, but just on what they can do to grow and the positive aspect of it. I know I'm going through this quickly, but I will also send this PowerPoint along with this, and want to be respectful of your time as well. So we want to only referring to the card during the time for it. We never want to threaten a student's connections points based on their behavior. If it's used as a threat, then that turns it into something that is negative, like any of the other behavior management techniques where we want this kept separate in a positive category. And if we have nothing positive to say, we can just mark the 0 and move on, or come up with something rote, just like, hey, you got it next time, or you've got a half a day ahead of you, you've got a whole day ahead of you, to give them kind of looking towards where the next choice they can make. But the last thing we'd want to do is, if we're marking 0, saying, oh, well, you got the 0 because you were walking around, you weren't doing this, and focusing on those negatives. So just a quick rote, you got this next time, and moving on. Again, just reinforcing that this is really focusing on positive interactions, and wanting to leave any punishment or consequences to the regular classroom management or consequences that they would be receiving, and keeping it separate from this intervention. This points out the bonus points that I mentioned a little bit ago, and this is something that is great to give students more positives than. And so again, for them to visualize, if you notice that that's something that you think would be benefiting them, to give them those visual bonuses. In the past, there's been some students who they would catch me in the hall and they'd always point to the bonus on any days where they were getting bonuses. Hey, Mr. Mackey, look, I got 2 bonuses or 3 bonuses or whatever. But that's something they get excited about because they know that it's them going above and beyond. Students need lots of motivation, and the rewards that they could work out with their mentors. Oftentimes we'll make deals and set up, if they hit their goal, things that they can earn to help provide that. And again, the positive relationship and positive interactions is a lot of that reinforcement and rewards that we're wanting to give students. Check and check out works because the structure around positive interactions is increased. We're able to teach mentors during the day, checking out the expectations that they need, be clear about it, practice it when necessary. It collects data and increases those positive interactions. Biggest thing we want to do is avoid the main pitfall, as I have been a broken record on for the past few minutes, of we have to keep this positive and not negative. Students receive negative interactions tied to the connections card. It is the number one reason that they will drop out or stop engaging in it. So again, we want to make sure we're staying positive all the time in connection to this card. Consequences can come separately. This is a fidelity check. I'll also attach this to the email just so you could look through. There's a few points just doing the things that we've discussed thus far of how to make sure we're doing what we need to be successful on how we are running the entire program, and it includes the teacher piece in there. I will be available Tuesday after school for any questions, suggestions, follow up before we get the program started. So, any questions, please come find me in the library after dismissal on Tuesday. Thank you very much. Have a great day.